quake, according to Caltech Seismological Lab, was believed to have been centered in or near the northern part of the valley. The exact location and the intensity of the timber could not be immediately determined since the delicate equipment was damaged. So we'll have to get that report from up north, perhaps. Police have activated the Emergency Control Center in Parker Center shortly after it started. Schools in the Los Angeles Unified District will be closed today until officials can assess damage to facilities. So, although there are probably a lot of scared kids, at least maybe that'll help make them a little bit happier. I know it will mine. County schools also have been closed. Reports indicate, as we said before, that Newhall was worst hit. County Fire Department officials report widespread damage in the Newhall area. Power lines down, several fires reported. Contingents from several sheriff stations were sent to the
Good afternoon. Steve Arvin, KMPC News with 12 noon report, brought to you very A disastrous earthquake struck metropolitan Los Angeles today, causing at least 17 deaths and vast amounts of destruction. It is known now as the worst quake in the past 4 decades here. Buildings collapsed at 2 hospitals. The cracks opened in an earthen dam at the Van Norman reservoirs, and evacuation were ordered of a wide section of the San Fernando Valley lying below the dam. It was feared that the death toll would go much higher as rescuers probed the ruins of collapsed buildings at Olive View Sanitarium and the Veterans Administration Hospital in Sylmar. It was a disaster of major proportions. Dozens of fires broke out. Gas lines were broken in many places. Hundreds of stores had display windows shattered. Freeway bridges collapsed. Fissures opened along other freeways and surface streets. Schools were closed. Normal life came to a virtual halt for many of our 7 million people. The County Board of Supervisors declared a state of local emergency. Governor Reagan was asked to declare Los Angeles County a disaster area, and he has assured this will be done. Telephones and electricity were cut off in many places. The quake struck at about 6 a.m. our time with a force registering 6.5 on the Richter scale. A reading of 6, of course, considered a severe temper. It was followed by a series of aftershocks of lesser magnitude. Scientists at Caltech say there may be more aftershocks during the day. The northern San Fernando Valley, including the communities of Sylmar, Mission Hills, and Granada Hills, were hardest hit. At mid-morning, the biggest concern centered around the Van Norman Lakes. We have KMPC newsman Dave DeSoto and Jim Hicklin talking about the situation as it develops in the dam area.
The hottest hit regions appears to be the Newhall area, which was apparently only about 10 miles from the center of the quake. Many buildings in Newhall have been badly damaged, power lines are down, and several fires have been reported in that region. Extra units from several sheriff stations have been sent into the Newhall region. Numerous gas leaks and fires have been reported in a variety of communities. Jim Hicklin, flying KMPC Airwatch 4, reports on his findings.
Well, I'm above something that we haven't even really begun talking about right now. I'm looking at what could be possibly one of the worst things that's happened in the north end of the San Fernando Valley, including an earthquake for a long time. For any of you that are familiar with the Van Norman Lakes, the main body of water here, the largest reservoir of the 4 lakes up here, the main dam is gone. The only thing that remains is an earth dam. Below that, there are literally hundreds of homes, including my own. We can see the Department of Water and Power people are quite concerned about this. There are numerous vehicles around here, but the wind and the water are beginning to work on this earth dam. The cement portion of the dam is, but remember, it's completely gone. We're going to have to check this out a little bit more on the land and see if I can talk to one of the department people, and we'll let you back with that information shortly. Here, watch 4 is clear.
Police report homes in Granada Hills are being evacuated below the Van Norman Lakes because of some leakage noted there. However, the evacuation is only precautionary at this time. The McClay Dam in the San Fernando Valley community of Pacoima developed a minor crack with water trickling down the face of the structure. Numerous bridges have been cracked and fissures have been reported in various roads and freeways throughout the Los Angeles area. Some roads were temporarily closed. The Golden State Freeway north of Los Angeles was closed at Roxford. There has been heavy damage in the Hollywood region, especially to stores along Hollywood Boulevard. Plate glass windows have been smashed in the stores, as well as a number of banks in the business district.
Mike Allen is canvassing the Hollywood area to report on effects of the quake there. Mike, you're in KMPC Day Cruiser 8. What have you seen and heard?
Well, that's just about the size of things at this particular time, Howard. In addition, there has been large damage to KNX, the Columbia Square facility down the street from the Hollywood Palladium. Just about every other window in that four-story structure was knocked out by the force of the quake. Taking a survey along Hollywood Boulevard, we find that there are numerous windows that were shattered by the force of the earthquake this morning. We checked in at Hollywood Receiving Hospital a moment ago. We found out that about 6 to 10 people checked in there for treatment of minor injuries, cut glass, flying glass, people knocked out of bed, stumbling in the dark, hitting coffee tables, and things of that nature. No serious injuries. They're all of a very, very minor nature. Hollywood is beginning to come alive, so to speak, this morning. The usual jubilant crowds along Hollywood Boulevard are surveying the downtown going up to Mount Lee. There has been no shifting of earth around homes in that area, and one police spokesman told me that they've weathered the storm better than any other part of Hollywood. Overall, in the Hollywood area, it is not serious, just shattered glass in some of the main stores along Hollywood and Sunset Boulevard. Mike Allen, Cruiser 8, now back to Howard Flynn.
We'll have more on the quake in just a moment. The time now is 6 minutes past 8. What you have been able to observe?
Right, we went up around Mount Wilson. All of the, most of the roads, I'll say, in the mountain areas, there's numerous road fires, numerous landslides. And I've certainly stay out of those areas until further notice. We're over Newhall, Saugus area again. Quite a bit of heavy traffic trying to get out of Newhall, go through Newhall Pass. And it's pretty well impossible in Newhall Pass this morning. Only a trickle of traffic is being allowed through there. There's a lot of equipment working down here and apparently a lot of damage in this particular section. Right now, fortunately, we see no fires in this particular area. KMPC Watch number 3, clear.
A spokesman for the Los Angeles City School District said that although the schools will be closed today, all of the district's children's centers would be open. Teachers have been asked to go to their schools so they can assess damage in the classrooms. The first aftershock this morning was felt in Los Angeles 10 minutes after the major trembler, which was about 6:02. Parker Center of the downtown police headquarters lost all power for about 15 minutes. This also proved to be a handicap to police and California highway units. Two-way radio communication was halted until power could be established again at the transformer stations. The San Fernando Valley reported communications out and structural damage. Long Beach was not as heavily hit as other areas. Dave DeSoto in KMPC Day Cruiser 3 has been covering the downtown Los Angeles area. David, how's the picture changed since you arrived there shortly after the big one hit?
More people have arrived, and more people are walking around looking up at the tops of the buildings. One of these buildings is being evacuated. It's the old Los Angeles Cotton Exchange building on 3rd and Main, just north of that intersection. Earlier this morning, I saw one of the three parts of the structure had been hollowed out. We lost about 2.5 floors of brick facing. Now, not the two top floors, but all the bricks came down in the parking lot. And now that building is being evacuated. Structural checking is going on, but of course, for most of the buildings affected, it will be a matter of several hours before the fire extinguishing system was kicked off and filled the lower floors with carbon dioxide fumes. Those people were taken off to hospitals for resuscitation. There are no reports of fatalities in downtown Los Angeles, but a lot of confusion. A lot of traffic lights are out. Cruiser 3 is clear.
Seismologists said the quake was centered some 10 miles east of Newhall, and it registered 6.5 on the Richter scale. KMPC's Ben Chandler has been running a check on hospitals in the Los Angeles area. Ben, what do they tell you about their status at this time?
Howard, as far as we could get through, our checks indicate that most hospitals have had quite a large number of emergency calls, particularly in the San Fernando Valley. However, there is good news to report. Most of the facilities report no critical injuries. But, of course, this is a preliminary check by telephone. We're continuing that. Okay.
Thank you, Ben. The time now is 10 minutes past 8 o'clock.
On 3rd Street, westbound between San Pedro and Central is closed due to a possible impending building collapse. This condition will exist until further notice. Repeating the location, 3rd Street, westbound between San Pedro and Central.
The late report just in says spokesman for the Pasadena and Long Beach school districts said their classes would be held as scheduled today. In Glendale, however, a school board spokesman said no classes would be held today.
I'd like something underneath it.
Now, once again, a round robin from all the KMPC team on the scene. First, today, Cruiser and Paul Pierce.
Well, we won't go into small details. The major things are the Golden State Freeway is closed. Newhall Pass is closed due to landslides. The San Diego Freeway is closed closed over by Rinaldi due to an impending collapse over there. The two hospitals here on the north side of the valley, Olive View and the Veterans Hospital, are heavily damaged. They are both airlifting patients out and taking them out by ambulances. The fire department tells me there are approximately 70 people in the Veterans Hospital. Over near the Van Norman Lakes, we'll get a report on that from Jim Hickman, but below the lakes there on Balboa at the Knollwood Country Club, an evacuation center has been set up by the police department. They may have to evacuate people because of the possibility of a break in the dam up there. Jim, how does it look from Elwich Helicopter 4?
Well, it looks very bad, Pat. The cement portion of the earth-filled dam is gone. It's completely collapsed. The water is lapping because of the wind. They have rather high waves in there against it. It looks very much like the ice flows in Alaska. The dirt keeps falling away. If the water doesn't rise anymore, and if the wind doesn't come up and we don't have another tremor, chances are it'll hold. But right now, for those of you that live between, I would say, Woodley and the San Diego Freeway, south of Brockford and Rinaldi, I would be quite concerned about it and stay close to the radios and your emergency frequencies or whatever, because the potential is here that this dam may go. Now, up higher to Herb Green, 20 Engineer 13.
We just left the Newhall area again, Jim. The main thing we see from there up there is very heavy traffic, Jim. People evidently haven't been listening. They're trying to get out of Newhall on the Antelope Valley Fire on 14. I think I gave it up for today. Up there, the fire situation is good. We see no fires. The fire situation in the San Fernando Valley is beginning to come out, but we do have very severe sun-out and wind. Now, Dave DeSoto. I told you about the downtown area of Los Angeles, scattered glass, older buildings sustained moderate to heavy damage in some areas, a lot of bricks in the parking lots. No reports of confirmed casualties as regards fatalities yet. I don't want to be an alarmist either, but if another quake comes along, the safest place is right underneath your door frame, right underneath the door, unless, of course, it's an overhanging brick-type thing, then you don't want to be underneath the doorway. To Mike Allen.
Listening to 50,000 watt KFI in Los Angeles. Now to NBC News at 10 o'clock.
Late report on the earthquake that hit Southern California today. Bob Abernathy in Los Angeles.
4 people are now confirmed dead from this morning's earthquake, 3 of them patients in a hospital. A reservoir in the San Fernando Valley area of Los Angeles, the hardest hit, is leaking, and a large residential area there is being evacuated. Several fires are still burning. Los Angeles City schools and some office buildings are closed while damage is assessed, so are several freeways buckled by the quake. The quake hit at 6 a.m. this morning, Pacific time. It registered 6.5 on the Richter scale, and milder aftershocks are expected to continue throughout the day. Bob Abernathy, NBC News, Los Angeles.
A little bit of an idea of what an aftershock is. If you've ever thrown a rock into water, there is the first splash of the water, and then little ripples extend out after the rock is already sunk to the bottom. This is the same thing with an earthquake, and these are what the aftershocks are. They're like the extended little ripples that continue after the earthquake has occurred. We understand that we have another report coming in from Granada Hill. Right, yes. This is KFWB Newsman Hal Goodwin. He's on the scene now. There's another shopping center apparently ablaze there. Hal, what's the situation and where are you?
Well, Chet, I'm at Zelza and Chatsworth. This is the shopping center that was reported a fire earlier. Then a major fire here in the shopping center at Zelza and Chatsworth in Granada Hill.